Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Soldier Stories podcast. My name is Mark Ross, and with me this morning, or afternoon, I should say, this afternoon, I have with me, excuse me, Miss Enid Blanton.
Blanton, yeah.
Is that how you pronounce Blanton?
Blanton,
Okay. Enid, you are a Air Force veteran,
correct.
and you are one of the founders, you and your husband, of Ancestry Cigars.
Correct. I'm actually the CEO / owner of Ancestry Cigars. He is the president of our board. Yes, it's
Okay.
me. Correct.
Okay. Enid, welcome to the show. How you doing
Thank
today?
you. I'm good. I'm fine. Can't complain. How are you today?
I'm all right. God woke me up, so hey, I got a reason
Amen
to
to
be
that.
blessed.
Amen to that.
Yes, indeed. Uh, Enid, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions about yourself and about what you have going on in terms of your cigar business. All right. So,
Yes.
first question is, what made you join the military?
Oh my goodness. So basically what made me join the military was I was a senior in high school. And don't get me wrong, I was smart. I had scholarships to go to college and everything like that. But I knew probably the fall of my senior year that if I went to college, I was going to waste my mother's money. So when you know that 9 times out of 10, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do when you go to college, you need to come up with a plan B. So I came up with a plan B and I had decided I was like, I'm going to go into the military. But at that time, I didn't know what branch I was going to go into because I'm in my family. A lot of people don't know I'm the first woman to go into the military in my family. All the rest of them are men. My father, he was, when he was in World War II, he was in the Navy. And then when he went in the Korean War, he went in the Marines, and that's where he finished up at. And then I had an uncle, my grandfather, and my great grandfather, they were in the Army. Well, I did my research and I was like, I don't want to be in basic training that long. I was like, that's crazy. At that time, it was 12 weeks, for the Marines, and then it was like 8 weeks for the Navy and for the Army. And so I said, the Air Force has the shortest basic training. So I decided to go in the Air Force. So I went,
How
did
many
my
weeks is Air Force training, if you don't
At
mind me
that
asking?
time, it was 6 weeks. Now it's up to, I think they said 7 weeks now.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's up to 7 weeks. So it was 6 weeks. It was like quick. You were like in and out. And
yeah.
it's funny because like when now they're up to 7 weeks, I'm like, that's really not anything compared to,
No.
the other branches of
Yeah,
service because
yeah.
it's not. You blink it, you out.
You blinking you out. Yeah. Mine was 3 months at the time.
Jesus, no, we were done. We were done. We literally, I graduated. I went in at the end of June, and I graduated August 6th because we still like they still have now. We had 0 week, so we had to process it and all of that. But now, from what I hear and what I saw, the Air Force has new dorms because I have family members that are younger than me that they went in the Air Force. And like they call the dorms that I was in when I was in basic training, they call it Alcatraz now because they're old dorms and they have even more luxury than what they had before. So it's funny now. But that's the reason why I decided to go into the Air Force. And when I was in the Air Force, I was an air emergency equipment inspector, which I dealt with planes. I was on the flight line. I dealt with a lot of that stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. So
Yes.
you mentioned your MOS. That's
Mhm.
cool. How long did you serve in
So
the
I
Air
was in from 98 to 01.
from 98 to 01? Okay,
I got medically discharged, and I am still a disabled vet.
that's what's up. Okay. What was your experience like in the Air Force?
Actually, I was blessed to be stationed in Southern Illinois. Like literally, when I was in basic training, I chose I chose overseas. I chose you know stateside or whatever, and I ended up coming back to Scott Air Force Base in Southern Illinois, which was cool.
Yeah.
But with my job, I was with Air Mobility Command, so I had to go TDY a lot. But when I was in TDY, I was flying up and down I-55, I-57, coming to Chicago to party and to go back to work on Monday because I had the weekends off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you
Yes.
from Chicago, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the crib for a couple of days, and yeah,
I would leave because at that time, I worked from what was that, 7 to 3:30. I would already have my bag in the car. And as
absolutely.
soon as I got off at 3:30, I would hit the
Oh,
road.
absolutely.
I would be back up here because it took me like about maybe 4 hours to get back up here. So I'd say I would be back up here maybe about 7, let's say 8 o'clock at the latest. I would shower and I would immediately go to the club.
Absolutely.
Immediately I went to the club.
Immediately.
And the club didn't close till like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I was there to 4 o'clock and I would come home, go to sleep, and
Yeah.
then we would start all over again. And
Start over again.
if I brought friends, they would, especially if it was summertime, they were like, "Oh yeah, we going with you to Chicago. We'll pay for gas. We already got our hotel room booked. Cool. Drop you off. I'm going to my house where my bed is in my mom's house, and then I'll pick you up and I'll meet you at the club." Because
Exactly.
back then it was no Uber or Lyft. It was other
Right.
taxi cabs. So like it used to be hilarious. I would come home. And my
Wow.
mom would say, and then when wintertime hit, I would always drive 30 minutes to St. Louis and hop on that 45-minute flight to Southwest, which back then it would cost me like 50, 60 some dollars and
Mm,
fly home. And then I would get on the plane early, the first plane going to St. Louis out on Monday morning and be in time for work. So
mm,
used to
mm.
do it. I used to burn it up. I really did.
Man.
Mhm,
So you did your tour duty
mhm.
and you got released. How was your transition from being an Air Force uh, veteran to a civilian person again?
It was very hard because especially when you're so used to discipline and you so used to this is what I do during this time, from this time to that time to the other time. It was very difficult because when I got out, I decided to go to college. My degree, I got an associate's degree in culinary arts and I got an associate's degree in baking and pastry. So it was very difficult to transition from such discipline to normal life. And when you get out of the military, and I even tell the young people this right now that they're having a hard time transitioning out, that you have to understand that, like, I know you want things to still be disciplined and them to be like this, but you're back in society. So you have to learn how to adapt and also use the programs because right now, um, they have more programs when you get out of the military than what we had when we got out. We didn't have all of these programs, transition programs to like transition from the job that you had in the military and transition to the civilian world. We didn't have all of the things that they are blessed to have with now. So it was very difficult for me to transition from being in the military to civilian life. It
Mm,
was hard.
hmm hmm
And it's like even now that I'm older, it doesn't bother me as much, but it's like certain things that I sit up and I say, I wish it was like this. What if I
mm.
would have not got hurt? What if I would have stayed in? Because
Yeah.
if I would have stayed in by now, I would have still been in 20. I would have been in 28 years
Oh
if
wow.
I would have stayed in. Yeah, I would have been in 28 years. And I probably in the Air Force by now, I probably would have been almost a chief master sergeant.
Mm.
So, yeah,
So you
but
so if you didn't get hurt, you
I would
probably
have
would have
stayed in.
retired.
I would have retired definitely, definitely, because I loved it. I love being in the Air Force. 'Cause as everybody teases us, y'all don't do nothing, but we do. We do ours with our mind.
Yeah, 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 yeah. How'd you get hurt, by the way?
So I fell off a 30-foot wall when I was in a training exercise. And I ended up I have degenerative disc, so I have like some I've literally when I went in the military, I was 5'6" and now I'm down to like 5'2", 3
Oh my
now.
goodness.
And then
So,
I have from that, I get the migraines and I have other stuff going on as well.
oh my goodness.
Yes. So I got hurt. Yeah.
So you lost 3 inches?
hmm Yeah. And when I had my son almost 21 years ago, I could not have an epidural like normal women. They had to give me general anesthesia and put me to sleep to have my C-section because of where they have to go in. My vertebrae is compressed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm tripping that you lost 3 inches, dude.
I did. It's funny. People like, you were never that tall. I'm like, yeah, I was. I got my records. And trust me, the VA has it too.
Right. How about that?
I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, wow. So you mentioned to me that you 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 basically deal with PTSD.
Mhm.
When did the symptoms start? Can you recall
I,
when the symptoms started?
I had some symptoms when I was in the military because I did, do time in the desert. I was in Saudi Arabia. Like all of us had to do rotations over there for 6 months. It started over there, but it was, they diagnosed me, as a part of when I got out. So I knew I had it, but it really didn't come into full effect until started losing like people close to me. And
Mm,
it started coming out in 2018. So 2018, I lost my grandmother. Then 2019, I lost my father. Then 2021, I lost my mother. So that's when it came out like full force, like, okay, you need to go seek help. You need to go to the VA. So I did,
absolutely.
because my husband was like, he would, when I would be sleeping, I would always be jumping like I'm falling or something like that. And then we were always battling it out and, having arguments, and I'm throwing shit and breaking up stuff and all of the above and arguments. Yeah, you see it rough.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's when I was like, okay, I think I need to seek help at the VA because again, I've been going to the VA ever since I got out of the military. I never stopped going to the VA. Only time I didn't go to the VA was when I found out I was pregnant with my son. And that's when, at that time, they had the contract up here with Stroger Hospital. And that's where they sent the women when they were pregnant. You went over there for your maternity care and everything like that, and then you came back. So, because really, if we think about it, PTSD, honestly, them having clinics at the VA did not really start establishing themselves. I want to say to like maybe 2015.
I
But
agree.
it wasn't like when I got out in '01, that was like taboo. It was
Yeah,
like, oh no, nothing's
absolutely.
wrong with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So they diagnosed me officially. I want to say it's been, I think, 2 years now. Yeah, after my mom passed, they diagnosed me in 2024 that I do have PTSD
Hmm.
with all the other things.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, sister, that uh back then, because I didn't get diagnosed myself of probably 2015 because I went to the VA in 2013
Mhm.
to say, hey, something's wrong with me. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I would go back even further. It was hard for me to even admit that something was wrong with me.
Mhm. Yeah. You think it's
Coming,
normal?
yeah, coming from where we're coming from and being raised to not just be tough, but how to survive.
Exactly.
We didn't want to
Exactly.
admit to ourselves that we were dealing with some shit. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And even though what we were dealing with in it was hurting us
Mhm.
and it was affecting those around us, we still had to
Mhm.
hide
We
behind
did.
that wall. Like,
We did.
I know I'm dealing with something, but I'm not that bad. I'm not
But
that
we
bad.
have to.
You can
Yep.
see a little bit of me,
Yep.
you know?
But we have to understand we were trained in our country first and then we were second. So until you like break it down, that it's not, you're not still on that same playing field where it's your country first and you're second, then that's why we had a hard time, dealing with it or transitioning to it or facing this is what is going on. Because let's be clear, you have people back from Korean War. Like a prime example, my dad, when my dad got to his last years, he he ended up having Alzheimer's with dementia.
Mm,
And he would have flashbacks, like literally, he would have flashbacks in the nursing home, like he was in a Korean War. Like
mm,
the nurses were saying they would come in at night and he would be giving out orders or would be receiving orders like he was still in the Korean War.
Still in it.
So they basically told me, well, hey, if you don't let us give him his medicine, his sundown medicine at 8 or 9 o'clock, you're gonna have to find another facility. And the VA had because he would go to the VA as well,
Mhm.
they work with the VA. So, that's why I ended up signing off on the paperwork, my mom and I, for him to get his medicine. Cause I'm like, he can't come live with me. Cause at that time I was living on the 22nd floor. They had deemed
Ooh.
my house unsafe. And then my mom, she was taking care of her mother and my grandmother, and she was like, I can't do two. So, he's got to stay in the nursing home. And he would. They were like, it was sometimes they were running there giving him shots in the middle of the night because he was straight up like he was still in the Korean War. And, it's sad, but like I really do feel as though if they would have diagnosed this way back when, a lot of our veterans probably would have still been here and got the help that they needed to get, as opposed to, like some of them committing suicide and everything like
Yeah.
that. And,
Yeah.
because even with Vietnam War, like my husband has friends that they're finally getting diagnosed with PTSD. And they saw some stuff, to see your buddies and everything blown up next to you and all of
Absolutely.
the above. And
Yes.
you like it's just a mess. Like anytime if you don't walk our life, you're not gonna know what it's actually like. So it was crazy,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to go back to what you was talking about being the only one in your family that joined, I too am the only one that went
The
to the
only
military.
woman.
Well, I was the only one in my family, period.
Wow.
you know, yeah, I had to make some decisions at an early age, like, what I want to
Hmm.
do with my life.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't regret going into the military at all because it helped me a great deal. And it I saw a you know half the world. And
Exactly.
I met a
Exactly.
lot of good people. I've done things that I know in my heart I couldn't have done on my own.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
going through what I went through, yeah, it affected me.
Hmm.
It made me see life a little different.
Hmm.
It made me look at life from a different
Different
perspective
perspective.
than most people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It made me grow up fast.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
And
tell our son that all the time now because he told us recently, I'm grown. I said, oh, you are? I said, sir,
oh,
you're not. I said, sir, you're not grown. If you're still on our taxes, sir, you're not grown. I said, no, I was grown. When I walked out the door at 18 years old, I said, my mother could only claim me on her taxes for half of 1998. And the rest of 1998, I was on my own.
I
I
was on
said, as soon as I left that, went to MEPS and processed to go
yes,
to
yes,
Scott Air Force Base, I mean, to go
yes,
to Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio,
yeah.
I was grown.
You was grown.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
you was a grown woman.
Yep, I was grown. I said,
Yes,
you haven't
absolutely.
seen nothing that I've seen. I said, so don't tell your dad and I about you grown.
Right,
You
right,
think
right,
you grown, but you're
right.
not.
You're not.
You're
Absolutely, absolutely that. Absolutely.
not.
So let me ask you this: as a melanated woman, back then being in the Air Force, what was that like?
The Air Force is still racist. I
Mm,
tell people that all the time.
mm,
The Air Force has always been racist. I don't think, honestly, the Air Force will ever stop being racist.
mm,
Yes, you're getting, because when I went in, it was about maybe 160, 180 some of us in the flights combined. And I think out of all of us, it was maybe at the most 40 Black people in there. Because let's be clear, you got to be very smart to get in the Air Force. The Air
okay.
Force, and I think recently someone just told me that they took their ASVAB score up to 70. Well, that's the lowest they take now. And
Mm,
they're even so picky now where you can't even have tattoos anywhere visible, not on the back of your hands, anything. But it was like that when I went in 28 years ago. So they really haven't changed anything. Only thing they changed is that the ASVAB score is higher. Have they changed how many minorities they take in? No, they have not. And I don't think they ever will do that because, and I don't know why it is. Don't know. But I'm still hearing some stuff that they still racist to this day. So,
mm,
and it was very interesting. I was, when I was at my job, I was, for one, I was the only female, and I was the only black female. We had a black guy that was a full-time reservist, but they really didn't count him. But I think, and then right before I got out, I think 2 months before I got out, they brought another black young lady in. But then I found out she didn't stay long. She ended up transferring. She put in her paperwork. She went to Korea because she was like, she just didn't want to be stateside anymore. She wanted to go overseas. So I experienced racism in there. It was interesting because our first shirt that I had when I first came in, he was a beautiful man, really nice. He was so awesome. Even our lieutenant colonel was awesome. But when our first shirt retired and we got that other one, oh,
Mm.
she was a trip. She was so much of a trip that after I got out, they ended up Article 15 in her and they put her out because that's how much of a trip she was.
Man,
She was a trip. As
what?
they yeah, oh yeah, she was a trip. We were all like, nope. They are ended up Article 15 in her because she was putting people out of the military and not going through the proper steps. So, after, because I don't know in the Marines, but in the Air Force at that time, in order for you to get put out, you had to have three Article 15s. She was getting them kicked out after one or two, and that was illegal. And
Man,
not having the proper paperwork and everything. And some of those people, if I'm not mistaken, they did get offered to come back in the military, but they just chose not to because they said they didn't want to be bothered. But I know for a fact they Article 15 her. she, they put her behind out. And she had been in, so if you give or take, she was like a master sergeant, get ready to put on senior master sergeant,
mm.
like back then.
Yeah,
So imagine how many years she had been in to get kicked
right,
out. Like, but just
right.
stupid, just stupid.
Damn,
And she
damn.
was Caucasian. Yep. hmm And fell underneath the don't ask, don't tell policy that they used to have, that they done brought back, which I don't think is gonna last.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Wow. So, do you still have like triggers or
I
moments like
do.
when
I
you
do.
like you gotta reset yourself?
I do. I have triggers, and I have triggers to the point where I go into introverted stage where I don't want to be bothered with anybody.
Yeah,
I just want to just be in my house where I know it's my safe haven and it'll
yeah,
give me peace. I do have my dog, my service connected dog. I have a pug. He's small. You probably seen him on social media, and he basically is my comfort dog, and he calms me down, and he knows when something's wrong, when I'm off, or when I'm going through those stages. I do know the times of the year that it's gonna happen, so I try to go ahead and monitor it more closely. And I know how to like pull back to know, okay, this is about to happen. So I need to like pull away from people because people aren't going to understand. It took my husband and my son a while for them to understand why, this was happening. And then like my husband has been sometimes to me with my therapy sessions and things have came out. He's like, wow, that happened, that happened. And I'm like, yeah, that did happen
that did
because
happen.
as you know, women, when we're in the military, things happen to us that's more prevalent than with the men.
Mm.
So I know my triggers.
Man, and it's I know where you're going with that, and it's so sad that many women,
hmm
not some, but many, and even as far as commissioned officers
hmm
have experienced what you've experienced.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is absolutely mind blowing.
hmm
And the fact that they choose to turn their backs to that issue is that's extremely sad.
hmm And it's
I
still
mean,
going on to this day. You'll hear
still,
periodically,
mm-hmm.
things that are happening in the various branches of service. I'm not going to just say it's in the Air Force. It
Oh, it's
happens in
all of them,
every branch of
all of them,
service.
and even with
Um,
commissioned officers.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, it does. It does. And people don't understand the trauma and the torment that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been through it. Know how it feels. And I have a lot of my counterparts, like women and in my various veterans organizations that I belong to, that they've went through some stuff, and some of them, they went through it so tough that they weren't able to have kids.
Oh my goodness.
And it's to form them in those ways and everything like that. But people don't understand. Women, we we go through some stuff. And
Yeah.
especially now, with the administration being in, and you got women that are coming up to be generals, and you talked about I don't want no woman on there. And these women have been in there 30 some years, 40 some years, and you're not gonna give me my 1 star or my 2 star. And
Right.
they all banding together. They saying, oh no, you gonna give me my shit
Right.
and we go sue you to get our shit,
Right. Right. Right.
because you have to. It's like we're really going back to like we in the 50s, or when we in World War I, 2, or
Yeah. We're
3,
there. We're
you know,
there. Yeah.
or Korean War, and people don't understand. Like the women, we just everybody's celebrating how women, that's a new thing now. When we got first were accepted into the military back in the 48, and it's really a good thing that we're there because we keep things balanced, and we know how to think with our instincts, and we can get into places because we're more flexible than men. But oh yeah, the women are having it tough right now. That man over the Department of Defense is going after them, but everybody got to understand his background. He's
Mm.
doing that because he was a weekend warrior, and let me say this: I have nothing against weekend warriors, but he had a lot of, if you look him up and you do like research about him, they probably done, redacted it like they did everything else. But he was sexually harassing
Oh,
females when he
absolutely.
was in there. And that's why he got kicked out of the army. But they keep that quiet.
Mm.
They do. They keep it quiet. He didn't have a clean record when he was in the army. He didn't. So, but yeah, women, they still today, we have it hard in the military.
Still today.
Hmm.
Yeah. Much more needs to be done to address that. For real. I mean, we have to make it more public than what it is, and we have to get these these corrupted sexual deviant people up out of there.
And it's gonna increase now that he's sitting up there and he's saying about he's gonna start giving the men testosterone that have testosterone issues. So what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah.
They really gonna start
They're really
raping
gonna
the
clown.
women.
They're
Yeah, they
really
really
gonna
gonna
clown.
start raping them women.
Yeah.
So why? Like, who does that? It's it's so crazy now. You just want to just wake up and snap your finger and be like, okay, this
Yeah.
was all a movie. It's over with and we back to normal.
It was just
For
all
real.
a bad dream. It was all
Mhm,
a dream.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
But then you rub the sleep out of your eyes and you realize I wasn't dreaming.
Mm-mm.
We're still in the
Nope.
shit.
Yeah. Still in it. And then we just sitting up saying, how much longer are we
That's
gonna be
right.
in it? How
Right.
much longer is Congress gonna keep on letting him do what he wants to do? How
That's
much longer?
how
We
much.
are sitting up and we over in Iran at a war that we shouldn't even be in.
None of those
We,
words that we shouldn't have been in.
especially this one. First of all, this one didn't even go through Congress. He
Mm-mm.
didn't even get permission.
No.
He didn't. And then you got the soldiers dying and all of the above. And then they
Oh, both
just did,
sides dying.
yes. And
Both
then,
sides.
like it's not even nothing.
Eh,
That they're young.
yeah.
Like a lot. And so now I don't know if you've been paying attention, but these last ones that got killed, they went ahead and they gave them their next rank postpartum. Yeah, not postpartum, but since they died, they
Since yeah,
gave them
yeah,
that. Yeah, they
yeah.
gave them their next rank, and I'm like, they ain't never did that. Why y'all do it? Oh, you trying to do this to be a people pleaser and make it seem like we won't pay attention to the fact that they got killed. So I'm gonna give you your next rank, but what is the paperwork gonna say? Because their death paperwork is gonna say the rank and time. Are you gonna change the paperwork to say the new ranking?
Right.
And the
Right.
average family, they don't know how to go in there and get that paperwork done to say what the ranking that their new rank was given to them. They don't know how to do that. So it's just crazy. We're in crazy times. We really are.
We are. Yes, yes, sister. We are. We are.
Mhm.
Um, You don't take medications for your PTSD, right?
No, my therapist put me on marijuana. I do edibles because she didn't feel as though she said you're at like a level two and a half. As well, she goes from one to one is the highest, then two is medium, then three. So I'm like in between a three and two and a half. Well, yeah, three and two. So I'm at a two and a half. So she is one. She's an awesome therapist. She does believe in cannabis. She does, and she's prior military.
Mm, that's
She
good.
works at the VA, and she
That's good.
says, not gonna put you on medication, but I think you need to start doing some form of cannabis, going to the dispensary. So I do edibles, pens, popcorns, corn stuff like that.
And has that been helping?
Oh, very much so. It helps. It really does help. It takes the anxiety out. I'm relaxed, and it works because the VA is really pushing veterans now to go over to the cannabis side. Because some was a veteran that was telling me that he goes to up there to Great Lakes and he gets his medical marijuana from Great Lakes. They doing the trials up there. How true
Mm.
that is, I don't know, but I do. I drive to Michigan and I get my edibles, and I'm good. I'm good. Yes, I am.
So you make that drive to Michigan, huh? Don't
Oh,
you
from my
guys?
house,
don't-
we have it, but it's cheaper in Michigan. If you go to New
Oh,
Buffalo,
it's
Michigan,
cheaper.
it's cheaper.
Where in
Yeah, so
Michigan?
New Buffalo, exit 2. It's like Candyland. It's almost like, I swear. So like you go to New Buffalo, Michigan, you laughing, but watch, one of these days you're gonna be like, oh, let's take a drive. Let me go
Yeah.
see what it's like. So when you go up there and you get off on exit two is like going to this big old truck stop. So you get off and you got like 5 over here, then you got 2 over there, then you go down the street, you got 6 more, and all of the above. Then you can go down, go to the next exit. So it's all the way live up in Michigan with the marijuana. It really is. And it's cheaper up there than it is here because you could get like if you that maybe the MSRP might be like $900. I know one time we went and with my veterans discount, new
Yeah.
person discount, all
Yeah.
of this
Yeah.
stuff, I
Yeah.
literally got a whole 4 month supply of stuff and I only paid 100 and some dollars.
How much?
100 and some
What?
dollars. hmm It's way cheaper than going here in Illinois. Way, way cheaper. And then what you do is you go to if you go up there, every time you go to a different dispensary so you can get deeper discounts.
Yeah.
And they they take your ID, they put you in the system, and they know that you're a veteran. And then when you come back, you get a veteran discount.
That's dope. That's
So
dope.
yeah, a lot of my veteran friends go up there. They love it. We all love it. It
I
keeps
bet.
us
I bet y'all do.
calm.
I,
Ooh.
I got a Marine Corps buddy that I grew up with, and he takes marijuana, and
Mhm.
he swears by it. He said, "Man, I use it every day." You
Yep,
know.
especially when you go to the dispensaries and not buy it on the street. It's pure. It's pure than pure. And right now, about when I'm going through my PTSD symptoms and all that, I take about 50 to 75 milligrams of edibles. That's my that's what I'm at, and it is what it is. I'd rather take that and be able to function than her to put me on a medication and I'm a zombie for days because a
Mm,
lot of that medication for PTSD for us makes us zombies. So
mm,
I
mm,
don't want to walk around like that because I still have to function. There's still other stuff that
hmm
I have to do. So
I was gonna talk about
yeah.
that because yeah, they put you on some heavy stuff, and not only does a medication can zombify you, but it
hmm
can also shut you down.
Yeah, and I have veteran friends that they had to stop taking their medicine and they went to marijuana because it was shut. They still work. Because
Yeah,
let me say
it will
this
shut
on
your
the
parts down
platform. Exactly. Let me say this on the platform.
for sure.
Some of us that are disabled veterans, we still work. Okay. All of us are not sitting up collecting a check like everybody thinks we do.
Right.
And they have to work. whatever their job is, they still have to, work. And a lot of them was like, no, I can't, function at work. And I walking around like a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
At least if I'm doing the marijuana, I can still function. And yeah, it's pretty tough,
It's tough. It
It
sure
really
is.
is tough.
It sure is. So let's talk about cigars. I see you getting your puff on with one, you know what I'm saying? Uh
Yeah.
when and how did you start your company, Ancestry Cigars?
So, the backstory of Ancestry Cigars is my husband smoked cigars for 30 some years. And a lot of people know we've been together 18 years. We're getting ready to be married 16. So, he was in the union. He is a retired building engineer. They would have meetings at cigar lounges because at one point he was a union rep for one of the buildings he was at. So, they would go have their meetings and everything like that. And he would always go to the lounge when we first got together, and he would basically leave me at home or be like, "Hey, I got to go to the lounge, got a meeting now. See you later." And he basically one day I said to him, I was like, I want to go and see what's going on at the lounge. And he was like, it's a lot of smoke, it's a lot of men in the lounge, you might not like it. I said, really? I said, I was in the military, so being around a lot of men does not bother me at this particular point. I said, so I want to go check it out. So he took me, and I've been smoking cigars now, maybe it's been about, now it's about 16, yeah, going on 17, because literally after we started dating, I started smoking. We started dating in '08, so I started smoking with him about '09, going into 2010, right before we got married. And I would go back and forth with him to the different lounges once he introduced me to cigars. And they would always tell me, the people that worked in the humidors, oh, women don't make cigars, women don't do that. I'm like, women do everything. So I know it's women that make cigars. You can't tell me that. So I want to say roughly about 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. No, it was 2018. I I started doing my research and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, you got this brand, this owned by a woman, you got this brand, you got this brand, you got this brand. So it is women in the cigar industry. So I came to my husband. I said, you know what? What would you think about if I started a cigar line? He was like, you're not going to start no cigar line. I was like, yeah. I said, I've been doing my research and everything. And they say women don't really get into the industry. And
Mm.
I think, maybe I should, get in the industry, try it. And if I don't like it, I can always get out. So 2019, I started working with our first manufacturers to start learning about the business, learning about the different tobaccos and everything like that. So in doing that, mind you, I'm in this time frame of my grandmother just died in October of 2018. Then my father died February of 2019. So I'm going through the grief of that and everything like that. So then we're rolling into 2020. COVID hits. Wonderful COVID hits in 2020. So I'm really, by that time, by the time COVID hit, I just celebrated my 40th birthday in February. The next thing you know, we shut down in March. So we were like, with the manufacturers, they were like, well, we can still get the samples over here. So while you're at home, smoke the samples, see what you like, see what you don't like, take your notes and everything like that. So that's what I did. Then August 28th of 2020 was when I decided to go ahead and put the paperwork in with the state of Illinois to go ahead and create the corporation for Ancestry Cigars. So the name Ancestry Cigars, that time when we started working on it, it was to honor my grandmother and my father. And then once my mom passed in 2021, it honors now all three of them. So we're in 2020. Yeah, we're in 2020 and everything. And I think I dropped the first cigar was November of 2020. I came out with my first cigar.
Okay.
And then, like now, August 28th of this year, we will be in business 6 years.
Nice.
So,
Congratulations.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you started off with one stick, and how many cigars are you?
So now I changed manufacturers, and I think out of all of the manufacturing deals I have, this is the best one. This I needed somebody that could understand, like when you were sitting up there asking me about when I have my times with my PTSD, I needed somebody that could understand it. And my blender manufacturer now, he's a veteran, but he's a veteran from Spain. So he understands everything that I'm going through because he's went through it or continues to go through it. So he gets what I don't feel like working. He gets what I'm going through, the PTSD episodes. He understands all of that. So that's the one reason why he took over the portion of the business where he does the distribution for the cigars. And he was the one that convinced me to go ahead and move my business, to move the headquarters from Illinois to Florida, because it makes it easier for him to be able to manage the business. And I still do the other portions of the business as well.
So so you have an address for your business in Florida,
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
but
I just stay in Illinois,
they
but the business is in Florida. The
got you.
business has been gone to Florida now, let's say officially almost a year ever since we signed the contract with him.
Okay, cool, cool. Where did you get the name Ancestry from?
Oh, Ancestry Cigars basically represents our ancestors. If you look in the logo behind me, I don't know if you can see the logo
Yep,
behind me.
I see it.
Basically, if you look in there, those chains represent us when we were in bondage for slavery. And then
Mhm.
the leaves are the tobacco, because before we did cotton, tobacco was very big in the United States. And then once the slave masters or the plantation owners felt realized that they can make more money with cotton, that's when they switched from tobacco to cotton. So that's where Ancestry Cigars came from. It represents our ancestors. When you smoke at our cigars, we want it every cigar we make, we want it to remind you of one of your ancestors. It could be your mother, your father, it could be anybody in your family. But we want you to remember them some kind of way.
Dig that, dig that. So, what does the experience of smoking cigars give you, Enid?
It's very relaxation. It's a conversation piece. It takes me back to remember different things from my ancestors. Also, it just gives me clarity, because let's be real.
Mhm.
When we went Africa, we smoked,
Mhm.
and they did it for ceremonial and they did it for recreational use.
Indeed.
But when it came over to America, it got, oh, you shouldn't smoke. Oh, you shouldn't do this. Oh, you shouldn't do that. But we did it. So I mean, why not do something to honor our ancestors? And I enjoy it. It's very relaxing. I smoke on the golf course, smoke like I'm sitting up here on doing a podcast. I smoke in my car. I really don't go to many places if I can't smoke. That's one of the reasons why I like to go to a lot of cigar lounges out of the state of Illinois. Because like when you go into places, Indiana, when you go up into Wisconsin, you can smoke in a bar if you're in a cigar lounge. If you
Yeah,
go to Florida, if you go to Atlanta, and some of these places they incorporate liquor, food, and cigars. So I love it.
that's
I
what's up.
really do.
Yeah, same here. Same here. What's your favorite stick?
Beside mine,
Besides,
I would have to say the stick that my go-to stick is the Drew Estate Undercrown, the Maduro. That's my go-to stick. And then I like Palencias. I like the green ones, the Colorado ones. And then I don't know if you heard of Robert Caldwell. He always does the cigars that he goes into the the manufacturing plants, and he it's called what's the loss whatever, and he has the Queen and all of that stuff. So I like his cigars
long
as
live the
well.
queen.
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yeah. Because I'm
yeah.
more of like I like the legacy brands, but I'm more of like a boutique brand cigar person. And I
Okay.
and it's not let me say this, before I got into the business, I was like that. And then now that I'm in the business, I like more boutique brands than I do legacies, because legacies are like they're mass producing so much that a lot of times they're not letting their tobacco age. They're not. They're like, okay, I got to get this out. I got to get that out. I got to get the other out, so on and so forth. Because like lately, my husband and I, we've been smoking different brands, and we like, oh, this doesn't, oh, this
Hmm.
wasn't age. And when you manufacture cigars, you can tell when it has an age because it has that ammonia taste.
Yeah,
And you like, nah, let me put that back. I know I smoked a third of it. I'll put that back in the humidor and I'll come and get that in about maybe, 5 to 6 weeks when it's aged
yeah,
more.
yeah.
But yes, yeah.
Okay,
But those are my favorite, cigars.
okay. What's your preferred cigar size?
I always like 6x52s or 6x54s. And even when I produce
So,
cigars, a lot of people ask me, "Are you gonna do a 60 gauge? Are you gonna do a 60 gauge?" No, because then that means we have to put more filler in there and you're really not going to get the experience or the flavor like you would if you have a 6x52 or a 6x54, because the bigger the gauge, the more filler you have to put in there, and
gotcha,
it's not gonna taste the same as it would by a 6x52 or 6x54.
gotcha. So you prefer more of the Toro?
Correct.
Yeah, yeah. That's what's up. Mild, medium, or full body?
It all depends upon the day and what I'm doing. Normally, if it's the morning time, I have a mild cigar. Then normally during the middle of the day, it might be a medium, and then at nighttime, it could be a full body cigar.
Hmm. As a sister of the leaf, Enid, how prominent are women cigar smokers around here?
We taking over. Man, when I first came in, there wasn't this many women, and in a matter of 6 years, the women are pretty much taking over. The women spend the most money in the cigar lounge. You have women that even if they're not in the cigar lounge, they ordering a lot from Cigar International, Cigar Page. All of these, like the women have better humidors in their house than the men do now. So we're really, especially the African American women, we really are expanding and taking our thrones in the cigar industry, and it's all over. As you know, we have mutual friends and you know, we take it over. Hate to say it, but that's what's happening. you know Now don't get me wrong, you do, and it's not only African American women, it's women of all ethnicities that are coming into this business now. They're kicking in the door, they're taking their rightful place, and it's awesome. It's a beautiful thing to see right now,
Yeah.
especially like I said, with me being in the business 6 years and seeing this. Because
Mhm.
when I came in, it wasn't like this. It was a few. You have your Karen Berger, you had Desiree with Drunken Chickens, and then you had the Ferrente, whatever her name is, that was the vice president, which she stepped down because she was tired. But like to see it from then to now, every time you look around, it's a woman on a social media page or anything with a cigar in their mouth or whatever the
Yeah.
case might be. We really are taking over. You're barely seeing the men. I hate to say it, but they're there, they're coming up, but the women are taking it over.
I agree. I've been seeing a lot more women on social media uh, lighting up and puffing cigars
Mhm,
more so than I've ever seen.
mhm.
You know,
Correct.
and I've only been in the game for about it'll be about 6 years.
Mhm,
But from then till now, yeah, I've seen a steadily increased number of women uh, engaging in smoking cigars, and that's to me that's cool. You
mhm.
know, that's cool to see, and but more so, what makes it even sexier to me is that hmm, you see women that know what they're talking about regarding the cigar.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
they know the leaf. They know
Mhm,
what filler it is. They know what the wrapper is. They know what the taste of this particular brand
mhm,
is going to give you. They
mhm.
have knowledge of what they're holding on to. They're not just
Exactly.
smoking it just for show and tell and like a showpiece. They're doing it
Exactly.
because it's a way of life to them.
Mhm.
They're well
Exactly.
educated in this game. They know what it is, they know how it is, and they enjoy it.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
agree 100%. I
yeah,
do agree
yeah.
100%. And it's an awesome thing. Quite a few of my girlfriends, they smoke. And just to be able to sit up and have conversations with them, and they tease me all the time about, smoking my cigars. And they'll go, it's nice to be able to sit up and smoke with the owner. I'm like, I'm just a regular person. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I don't come in, this is my disclaimer, I don't come in with an entourage. 9 times out of 10, you'll see me in a cigar lounge sitting up with friends, or else you'll see me, come in by myself or whatever. And they're like, but you just don't understand the impact that you have on the industry. I was like, I'm not concerned about that.
Mm,
Not.
mm.
I do what I do, and it is what it is. I
Yeah,
don't focus in on all of that. So
yeah.
it's pretty cool to sit up and smoke with women,
That's what's up.
and men too. I mean, because I smoke with a lot of men as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's pretty cool.
That's what's up. What's the future of Ancestry Cigars?
Hopefully the future of Ancestry Cigars, now we're coming up on the 6 year anniversary, is that I start more and more preparing myself at some point to retire, and also start preparing our son, hopefully once he gets out of college, to come on as our CFO, and then teach him about the business so that he can understand this is a legacy, that your mother built for you to take over at some point in time. And I always tell him, it's not how it's you don't have to run the company like your mother does. As long as you have your shares, you have your voting right, you can put somebody rights, you can put somebody in that seat to sit up there and manage the business as you are doing other things, because he's a finance major. So he's wants to do wealth management. So,
Mm.
you know, like I told him, once I'm dead and gone on, if you don't do the business right, I will come back and haunt you. I said, Lord, can I get 5 minutes to go get him together to get this right? And then I promise I'll come back. I promise you can bring me back. But yeah, eventually, for us to get into more markets, because right now we're in markets, but certain markets we're not going into because of their tobacco tax and everything like that. And then, starting to go international more, starting to get our name overseas more than what we are right now.
Cool. I was just going to ask you where where is Ancestry Cigars being sold at?
So right now we are strictly on www.bathcigars.com, and those are the people that makes my cigars. Now we're slowly starting to roll out to the lounges, because I actually at one point in time I had 100 and some lounges, and I trimmed the fat, went through the money aspect in terms of what's their order. Now they at least ordering one time a quarter. If they're not ordering one time a quarter, how often are they ordering throughout the year? And I literally made the executive decision that we were only going to do 4 lounges per state,
Mm.
because I just don't. I mean, I used to be up and down the road. Sometimes I would come in, and I would come in like today from being on the road, and then I would put my bags down and be leaving out the next day, and that got very exhausting. And I've
Absolutely.
even gotten to the point now where I really don't want my cutting lights in the evening anymore. Like if I'm doing a cutting light, can we please do it during the day between the hours of like freaking 2 and 8? Because sometimes I used to be in the lounges to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll never forget one time I was in Miami, and this is the first time I had taken my husband with me. And I literally did a cutting light at a lounge. I think it started like 7, 8 o'clock at night. We didn't leave the lounge until like it went over to like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And to be back up at 9 o'clock because I had a meeting that next morning. And he was like, "Are you for real about to get up and go do this meeting?" I said, "Yeah, I have no other choice." He was like, "But you just got in 3, 4, we just got in 3, 4 o'clock this morning." I said, "This is my life." I said, "That's the reason why when I come home, I sleep so much." I'm like, because I've literally sometimes have been up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And sometimes I've been in states and I have not went to sleep because I know I have to be at the airport because my flight leaves at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
So, I mean, we're slowly rolling them out to the lounges. And Hopefully by next year, we'll be back in the lounges full force. We shall see. But the lounges are having, they're so used to dealing with me, they're having a hard time that it's now a distribution company. And the distribution company is going to come straight from the distribution company to you. I'm not going to be the intermediate person to deliver your cigars or anything like that. I'm just the person that I show up, talk about the cigar, and that's it. So with that being said, they have to make sure that they email the license and everything because they have to keep a record of all of that.
Mm. Okay.
So yes.
All right.
Because I admit I spoiled everybody. I spoiled the lounges. I spoiled my individual consumers because I'll be out now, especially since it's the Midwest. This is our hot season. And, we got all of the park festivals and stuff. And people will walk up to me, you don't have any cigars? I'm like, no, I don't. You can go on the website and order them. Why
Mm.
don't you have them? Because I don't anymore. I don't do that anymore. I do
Right.
not have my own personal ones for my husband and myself and our immediate family members, but I don't carry all that stuff around like I used to anymore.
If you want one, buy one. Go to
Exactly. Go on the website. I mean, now we don't have tobacco tax like that, so it's not like
all the
they're expensive.
time.
It's not like it's expensive before, like it was before, but now, because Florida's tobacco tax is barely anything. It's nothing, and you just paying the sales tax, which is 7%. That's not nothing.
Mm.
That's not nothing at all. So it's interesting trying to get everybody to transition that I'm not order from the distribution. That's what they're there for. I'm not doing that headache anymore. I did that headache.
Right.
Mm-mm.
If you had an inspirational message that you could share to those suffering from PTSD like yourself, Enid, what would that message be?
Difficult one. Um, don't let people judge you. Stand and own who you are. Don't like basically don't feel as though don't let them ostracize you because you can look at me and I mean, I hate to say it, I don't care, about what people think. And I had to get to that point, especially with PTSD, because the more and more you care, that's the more and more demons start coming into your head and start making you, think this, think that about yourself, that you're not good, you're worthless and everything, which can lead you to other aspects, which some people when those demons get in their head, it can lead them to suicide. So my message is just be true to yourself, own it. It's nothing wrong. Everybody's suffering from some type of mental illness out here, be it PTSD, be it drug addiction, whatever. They're suffering from it. Some people don't want to acknowledge that they're suffering from it, but everybody's suffering from something. So just be true to yourself and, let people know this is who I am. This is what I have. And that's one thing I do. I let people know I don't hide it. I have PTSD. I was in the military. And my favorite running joke is that please don't try me because I don't go to jail. I go on the sixth or the seventh floor at the local VA.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
and
Hmm.
then people leave me alone. They're like, okay, well, let me leave her alone because she basically telling us, and I joke about it or whatever, but I know it's the truth, and you just gotta like just be true to yourself.
Absolutely.
If you need help, you need help. If you having times that you don't feel like being bothered with people, it's okay. Like prime example, we got the whole Chicago Cigar Week going on right now.
Yeah, I
Ain't go,
heard.
I'm not gonna be out. But beside, I got a whole lot of stuff going on. I got to get ready for the Christmas in July thing that is going on this weekend at the VA. It's a whole lot of stuff that one of my colleagues, Dr. Carlos Redmond, is doing in conjunction with various other agencies for back to school. And they're going to have veteran stuff there, veterans resources and everything, because I'm now a part of the South Suburban Veterans Coalition, which basically we are a group of veterans that are getting together to help create services for homeless veterans. And right now we're working on our charter. So he's one of the people that is going to be dealing with the housing issues for veterans that we have here, South Suburban, because mostly all of the help is in the northern suburbs and the western suburbs, and it's really not anything for the south suburbs. So that's the reason why we decided to form this coalition, and it's going to be different aspects of it. I don't know if you saw the flyers, but we have our meetings the second Monday of the month via Zoom. And you call and we talk about, various things that we want to work on. And we're basically getting everybody together to be committee heads and all of the above because it's going to basically be a 501(c).
Mm.
So, and the ultimate goal is to try to get a old hotel or motel that is abandoned and rehab it. So when the veterans are in crisis and homeless, they can have a place to stay temporarily until we can get them into regular housing.
Mm.
And we're really focusing in on women veterans with children because they are really forgotten.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Yeah.
and we have an organization that has a facility for veterans, such as what you're talking about. Is called
Hmm.
Center for Veterans Issues,
Hmm.
and they do some great work with the veteran population in
Hmm.
terms of getting them off the street, uh, helping them uh, get their comp and pens set together,
Hmm.
helping them with their
Yeah,
medications, appointments, getting housing,
exactly.
you know, alcohol and drug, counseling, the whole thing, the whole
Hmm.
right. And they have a facility that was just recently rehabbed.
Okay.
I mean, back in the day, it looked like it gave jail.
Wow. Well.
But I mean, that's how it started.
Hmm.
But now it's really really nice. So
That's good. That's good. They
yeah,
need something nice because like, you never know what a person is going through. Because recently it was a friend of mine had put up about a veteran and he's on in between 95th and Jeffrey and the Aldi, and he's 70 some years old and he needed help and everything like that. So she deals with stuff in Northwest Indiana. He didn't have a place to stay. So she had made some connections with the people over there and she had got him a place to stay, but she had been looking for him and she couldn't find him. So she finally found him this one day and he told her, he was like, yeah, I was in the hospital, so and so and so and so. He was like, but my payee does not, can you hear me?
mhm.
Yeah, my payee does not want me to go into, doesn't want me to go to Indiana. They basically told me either I stay in Chicago or just be homeless. And I'm like, what? I'm like, are you serious? And so he was like, she was telling me. So I told one of the people that's on the committee with me, I told them about it. And he said, hey, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to find him. And then I'm going to get him in housing and I'm going to find out who this payee is. Because you have a lot of these payees out here, whether or not you got VA disability or Social Security disability, whatever you got, they take advantage of it. And
Absolutely.
they need to stop that as well too. Because the thing about it is you're taking advantage of this and you don't even realize that this could be you one day. And then somebody takes advantage of you, then what you go do?
Mm.
So
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, yeah. How can people contact you, Enid?
So people can go on social media. I'm on Facebook under Enid Full Body Blanton. And then I am on Instagram as Ancestry underscore cigars underscore INC. Then I'm also on Instagram as Ancestry Cigar Owner underscore Enid. And then we also have the Facebook page, Ancestry Cigars Incorporated. So if you leave a message, my intern will make sure that I get the message and I I'll respond or she'll respond, or you can email the company at Ancestry Cigars Incorporated gmail.com.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, Miss Enid Blanton. It
Yeah,
has been a pleasure having this conversation with you, and
thank
it is
you.
cool to know there are more women like you are engaging in getting your smoke on. So
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, it's one of those days, you know. It's
yeah.
gonna be a smoking day. And a rough day, rough 24 hours. So
Yeah, I understand. Hey, every day could be a smoking day. You know what I'm
it
saying?
is.
Because
Every day it is. It is a smoking day every day. It
cigars
is.
is like therapy for me. You know what I'm saying?
Every day is a smoking day. No matter what you're doing, it's a smoking day. It really is.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes.
Well, thank you for taking this time to speak with me,
You're
Mrs.
welcome.
And my services are available for you if you need some assistance with anything. You know what I'm saying? And
Thank you. Thank you.
uh, I'll stay in touch with you.
Okay.
And
Good.
yeah, we'll just go from there.
All right. Thank you so much. You have
Thank
a
you
good
so much.
day.
You as
All
well.
right. All
All
right.
right.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.